Hello, my name is Kelli Stewart. 2 years ago, I didn't know what Waco was. I didn't know what Ruby Ridge was. And then I learned about it all through the events of down in Oregon at the Malheur Wildlife Refuge, when a group of individuals tried to do what I wish many people had done here in Waco, and that is they went to stand for a family, the Hammond family, that was being abused by the federal government and being targeted. What I just want to say here today, first, I was there witnessing the trials, and due process was not received. 2 years waiting for your speedy trial. A man shot on a back road with no cell coverage, which was Lavoy Finicum, shot 3 times in the back, is not due process. So my question to you is, did the federal government learn anything? And are we just here to remember, or is there anything that will ever change from the events that have happened? I want to tell you that I don't believe the federal government has learned a thing, unless you want to talk about them becoming more deceptive with their informants learning more about the people they're infiltrating, deceiving the public even more, owning the media even more. They have learned nothing. If we look at Ruby Ridge, he was a white supremacist who was hiding guns and took his family up to an isolated area. If we look at Waco, we have a cult with guns. If we look at Bunkerville, we have Cliven Bundy, a white supremacist, sorry, not a white supremacist, but a racist who refused to pay his cattle grazing fees. Then we have the Wildlife Refuge, which were armed militants who took over a federal building. If you guys want to know where those false narratives came from, you have to look around the room at anybody holding a press pass, because a very wise person, we have 2 levels of protection in this country, and that's the 4th branch of government, which is the people, and that's the media. And David Fry said at the Wildlife Refuge, when they were under siege there and they thought they were all going to be killed, that the media was supposed to be the watchdog of the people. They're supposed to go places we can't go. They're supposed to tell the public what's happening, so that the government, when it leaves the confines of the Constitution, will be held accountable. The media is the first line of defense that has failed us in this country, and I believe that the blood of many patriots across this country are on their hands. But the second line of defense is the 4th branch of government, which is we the people. To the people who experience this tragedy and wonder, why did it happen and did anything change, I want to tell you that many lives have been since saved because of the sacrifices at Waco. When I learned about all of this 2 years ago and I got to know the Bundy family, the thing that I continued hearing over and over from the people who showed up in Bunkerville in 2014 to protect the Bundys is, we will not allow another Waco to happen. So when I look at these faces up here, I see Mel Bundy, and I see Dave Bundy, and I see Ammon and Ryan and Cliven, and I see their 25 children that would have been without them had they all been massacred on that day, on April 12th, 2014. So I want to tell you that the media has learned nothing. They continue to isolate and demonize and destroy. I want to tell you the federal government has learned nothing. They only have more tax dollars to continue to grow farther and farther outside of the confines of the Constitution. But I want to tell you that we the people, we have learned something. And Bunkerville is an example of what was learned. When they were put under siege, when snipers were pointed at the Bundy family, they could have all been massacred that day, and I absolutely believe they would have, had this tragedy not happened and had people not witnessed this as the 4th branch of government and said, where the hell were we? And in 2014, because of these faces up here, they showed up. And they showed up armed, they showed up principled, they brought their families and their children, and they were on horseback, and they stood, and they told the federal government no. And Cliven Bundy even told them, hell no. So we can sit here and just remember and think that all is lost and there isn't hope, because the media continues to fail us. They continue to be the lapdogs of the federal government instead of the bulldogs of the people, as David Fry said.
That's right.
We can believe that, but we can also remember and believe that we the people, everybody in this room, minus the federal FBI agents, everybody in this room is the 4th branch of government. And one thing that I'll leave you with in saying that the people have learned, though the media and the federal government has not, My question for you would be, what will you do when the next attempted Waco happens? Because it will happen, right? We can go back to Wounded Knee and Trail of Tears and Bunkerville and Ruby Ridge and Malheur Wildlife Refuge. We can go back to all those. And the times that people didn't die was Bunkerville, when the people showed up. And they showed up as a defense, not as the aggressors. They showed up in defense of the Agent Dan Loves, who had the kill list and the suicide brag books. These are things that our government agencies are doing, that we are allowing them to do. When we show up and we're principled and we defend those in need, this doesn't have to happen again. But when the next attempted Waco happens, each one of you and the media in the back, you have another opportunity to do what's right and to save lives. I'd like to say that due process was given in Bunkerville, but there's still 3 individuals in prison, one of which for 56 years. Lavoy Finicum was killed. There's 7 people still in prison from the Wildlife Refuge. There were some victories, but there have been many, many defeats if you want to look at justice. But at the end of the day, it's in our corner. The ball is in our court. We can sit around and be upset about what the federal government did, but we all know what the federal government will do. Why? Because they're tyrants. Tyrants will be tyrants. The question is, will the media start telling the truth? Will they stop isolating and demonizing and destroying people and calling them cult and white supremacists and armed militants? Will they tell the truth and humanize these people so that those of us at home watching from TV can then rise up as the 4th branch of government and hold our elected officials accountable and say, absolutely not. Not on my watch. Not in America. That's not what our flag stands for. Our flag only stands for freedom if the 4th branch of government protects that freedom and holds their government and their elected officials accountable. So to all the people here who lost their lives, all of these lives, and more so, were spared. Hundreds of people showed up in Bunkerville. And again, the theme I heard over and over and over was, I came because I wasn't going to let there be another Waco.